I'm Lexy Davis, a love embodiment coach who helps people create a love that feels like home, and I'm here to bring more romance and playfulness into the world. I'm also an international retreat host, vibe curator, and human connector. I serve people through my business, Alive to Enjoy, and this podcast where I invite guests from around the world to sprinkle their wisdom and expand your perspective so you can create the deepest love you possibly can reach in this lifetime. I also want you to live the most joyous life, whatever that looks like to you, and I hope that this slice of the internet brings you lots of smiles and helps you keep your heart open. Thank you for choosing Heart Snuggles to be in your ears each week, and I'm so glad you're here with me. You prayed for a provider, and now you're explaining the tone, suggesting the spots, and hoping he gets the hint. That is not being led, my darling. That's emotional labor wrapped in Chanel and coping mechanisms. You did not pray for the lead role just to stay stuck behind the camera. In this episode, we're going to be unpacking why so many high-achieving women keep leading the very love they long to receive and how to finally land the plane on this cycle of overfunctioning in relationships, because you can't be flown out and still be flying the plane. And this is something I see all the time with my clients, and it's so sneaky. So if you know anything about me, you know I will definitely be addressing the nervous system as it is the root of love. I will also be chatting about the need for control and what actually shifts when you stop managing love like it's another launch in your business and you start letting yourself be led. So you're not controlling because you want to, you're conditioned. You were taught to be responsible and not receptive. And most women don't know how to be in their feminine energy because it was never safe to be, / you had to be in charge of everything. You had to be in charge of your life even when you were a kid and you were supposed to just be a kid. So it went from you can do it all to you have to do it all. And then emotional micromanaging became your nervous system safety plan. So now all your protection mechanisms are around control as a faux sense of safety, as a way of I know what's happening and I know what to do when I have my fingers, my hands, my control on it. And yet your nervous system is still a little wired and fried and it's living in survival and you don't have the love life that you know you're made for. So you prayed for a provider and now you're triple checking the reservations and packing the snacks for the beach date and wondering why you feel so tired after a weekend you didn't even plan. You don't know how to just let him take charge because so many times of being disappointed, you're scared of what will happen when you actually let go of leading and you don't want to get hurt again. So you may look surrendered, you may look really feminine and dress the part, but you're still gripping invisibly. You still have, even if you may not be aware of it or you can't see it, there's this invisible grip on your love life. And your nervous system, as the nervous system does, is always scanning for danger, even during a nice dinner. It's scanning for danger and false fire alarms are going off left and right, keeping you on hypervigilance instead of relaxing into the relationship, into the moment. So your nervous system survival plan is leading in love, because letting someone else lead is dangerous, even if it's what you secretly want. You just can't seem to hand over that role because you don't trust love unless you're steering it. That is you living in surveillance and why love still feels like labor. This is what I call styled like a soft girl, but braced like a bodyguard. If I were to see you on the street, I'd be like, wow, she looks like a really feminine woman, even though instantly I can feel in my body if you're still holding on to control and you aren't living in peace within. But just from a superficial level, if I were to see you walking and you look feminine, you'd be cute and maybe joyful, smiling, but your nervous system is still on high alert, like your 24-hour surveillance security guard. But I want to remind you that being the planner is not your gift. That's not what you came here to do in the relationship. Just because you can organize everything doesn't mean you should, nor do you want to. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are a feminine woman who wants a provider man, then that ain't your role. That's not what's going to light you up the most. And before you come at me saying, well, what am I supposed to do? Just be a passive little princess? Well, yes, you can. But no, we lead in love through our hearts, through the spiritual world, through our faith, through our trust, through our surrender. So there is different ways that you lead, but it's not in this way. Because the deeper truth is you don't know how to feel valuable if you're not doing something. Did you hear me say that one? You do not know how to feel valuable if you're not doing something because your worth, whether known or not, has been tied to your output, your productivity, the way you care for somebody. So you say you want to be adored, but you keep putting yourself in charge of the experience. You perform devotion, hoping that that will earn the commitment you desire, when really your doing keeps you from receiving. And it's so sneaky, the ways that your nervous system tries to protect you. You say you're soft, but then I'll catch ya zooming in on the photo of him with his friends, seeing which direction he's leaning more towards, which direction his eyes are looking in the photos if he's looking at another girl. You got this sneaky part of you that doesn't trust your man. And let me tell you, do I know this? It was quite the journey at the beginning of my relationship. The more I didn't trust my man and I thought I knew better, let me tell you, did I think I knew way better than this man in every single way? And I continued to correct him, to question him. So it showed up in so many small ways because a little bit of backstory about me. I grew up with a single father starting at the age of 5, and I was an only child. So I was very quickly just an adult at a young age, and I can do anything myself. I can handle it all. I'm an amazing problem solver. I've traveled the world by myself, even to India. Like, there's nothing I can't do pretty much. I feel very confident and how capable I am. I have had to be, and that's because of trauma, and yet I'm very grateful for that skill. Then I switched into realizing that's not how I want to live my life, and I actually want a man to take care of this because this is freaking stressful, and I'm tired of this responsibility that wasn't even supposed to be mine. So I decided to be feminine to understand what that was and somatically let my body soften through my relationship with God and letting Him be my protector, my provider, my leader, so that I can rest and live in peace and joy. And with that, you know, I ain't perfect. So when I met the love of my life about a year ago, he's a very, very masculine man. He put me in my place so many times, and he still does. And I'm very grateful for him and for that, even though I fight back sometimes. But one of the first instances, one of the first few days I met him, we were in his bed watching a movie, and he was trying to search for the movie, and I grabbed the remote out of his hand and I clicked the microphone button to where you can speak into it so it just says the movie because he was complaining about typing it in. And he looked at me in pure shock, was just so taken back by that action I did. And I wasn't even thinking it was anything. I just thought, let me just do it because I know how to do this. How does he not know this button? And da 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 da, thinking I know best. And he said, do you really think that I don't know that microphone button is in there? And I was like, ooh, don't, what? Ooh, I don't like this feeling. And he said, that button doesn't work. Can I have the remote back, please? And I was like, wow, what was that? And I just curled into a little ball and hid in my pile of shame. And he just laughed and said, I don't even remember what he said, but it was so funny. And yeah, I was like, okay, yeah. I realized that he's a grown man and knows how to do things as well. And something else I was doing was I had all these expectations of what love should look like based on my girlfriends and Instagram and how to be a spoiled woman because I deserve and am entitled to the spoiled treatment because of all the work I have done. So I would put this pressure on him and be disappointed constantly when he, first off, didn't even know that I wanted these big grand gestures, slash, I wouldn't even let him naturally surprise me with these things. I wanted straight out the get-go just to feel princess treatment constantly and to have these big grand gestures. And he picked up on that very quickly. And we had many discussions around this. He's like, you are expecting love to look a certain way. And I was like, well, I know it can be, and I know it should, and la 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 la. And we had many discussions about this. And I was trying to lead the love, and there was less space for him to actually step up and surprise me in ways that he wanted to. It was more of a force, like obeying my orders versus being adored naturally. And the most loved woman on earth, they're not in control, they're considered. They don't have to plan the connection, they're poured into because devotion isn't scheduled, it arrives when you're not performing for it. So let me tell you one of those moments where it all started to change. I took the hint after my man mirroring back to me many times that my control, my pressure, my perception of him not being a trustworthy man or being a man who knows how to take care of a woman was killing the relationship. And we had just started it. And I knew this was my man. So I also was fighting with God, being like, God, what's going on here? This is not the kind of treatment I deserve. I want. You know what I want, God. What's going on? And I wrestled and I wrestled and I finally realized that I just need to let go. I need to surrender and I need to just trust this man, even in moments that don't make sense, even when it feels like he's not doing anything or thinking about me. And instead of putting more pressure on him, I started to prioritize myself. I started to trust that he is a very capable man, a very romantic man, very thoughtful man. He is my Prince Charming. Through my foundation of forever method that I've created, using those principles, from there, this man, there isn't a moment of the day he ain't thinking about me now. There isn't a moment where he's not planning a cutie surprise or trying to make me happy. It's incredible. There's so many weekends or just nights where he'll text and be like, be ready at this time. We live together, but he'll say, be ready at this time and make sure to have your tennis shoes or put on a nice dress. My dream. And then he'll take me on a magical surprise of something that he knows I want. For instance, let's see, 2 weeks ago, he he was like, okay, Saturday is a day for me and you. I have something special for you. And I'm like, I never want to know. I don't ask questions. I just let it be. And we're driving and we're going to somewhere I've never been. He's playing good music, and we get there, and it is this magical castle palace in the middle of a forest, like just jaw-dropping. And he looks at me and he says, "Do you recognize this place?" And I was like, "No, I've never been here." He's like, "Well, you sent it to me on Instagram." I said, "What?" He says he has an album saved of all the places that I send him, and my God, so cute. So we go to the restaurant and he's calling them and he's speaking Portuguese, so I don't know what he's saying. But basically, he was letting me know like we got to get there in time before it closes for the restaurant. And he schmoozed the people enough to make them push back the hour. And we get there and we have a seat, and it's on this gorgeous balcony overlooking the botanical garden. I'm in heaven. And I'm looking at this man in front of me who I am just so obsessed with, who is my dream man, and that he just planned this for me and that I'm just getting to receive it. I don't need to do anything. I just need to enjoy. And I didn't have to tell him how to do it or plan it, or I let him know that this is a place I wanted to go, but I didn't control when, how, what timeline. And then he blessed me in such a beautiful way. And so this is just such a small scenario of what happens when you learn to stop flying the plane, when you take your hands off the wheel and you give it to your man, you give it to God. This is what trusting and faith and relationship actually looks like, and you getting to rest in your identity of the soft, spoiled wife. Even if it's not, even if you aren't a wife yet, you still get to take that posture. And taking that posture brings you quicker into actually getting the ring if you don't have one already. So when you stop leading, there's many benefits that come. And one of them being you're not exhausted by love. You're not always resentful and feel like you're carrying the relationship. Instead, you're energized by it and you feel alive from your relationship. You feel emotionally safe and sensually fed. And let me tell you, if you have not experienced true, deep emotional security and safety in your body, I don't know if there's a better feeling in the world than that for a woman. especially us who've grown up in these crazy worlds, who've experienced a lot of things like sexual assault and just not great treatment from men, and just in general, just your safety is constantly on edge, especially if you live in America. Gosh. So that feeling is the best feeling in the world. And it's not necessarily from your man, it's from your posture with God, from your trust and faith in Him that allows you to start taking that before your man changes anything. And then your man becomes that anchor, that grounding, the safest place on earth. What also shifts when you stop leading is you no longer need to do, to earn, to perform. You're just in it. You're just enjoying. You're just present, which again has to go with how regulated you are in your nervous system. Because if you're not in the ventral, which I call the emotionally elegant wife state, you can't be present. You're in one of your three survival states, which I call the holy hustler, also known as sympathetic, the in her head haughty, the free state, or the God forgot me beauty, which is dorsal. And you're not wrong for living in survival, but it's time to change that. Like, come on, you don't have to be a victim to everything that's happened to you. You can take your regulation back into your own hands and start living a life that feels safe, good, peaceful, pleasurable, exciting, just yummy. Okay. And your relationship is the place to really shift that, because it's through relationships that our nervous system became dysregulated, and it's through relationships that we can regulate it again. Now, that journey doesn't always look so pretty, but it's one of my favorite aspects of what I do with my one-to-one clients. And the transformation isn't just cute and great for Instagram. No, this transformation changes for the rest of your life. This is a new foundation your body and your relationship get to live on. And that is priceless. That is the best feeling in the whole wide world, to be able to have a wider window of tolerance, a wider capability to stay regulated versus always living in your head, always living in the past or the future. It's exhausting. So you were never too much. You were just never safe enough to stop performing. And now when you stop managing it, you get to marinate in the moment, in the relationship, in the man that you prayed for your entire life, right? Or if you're single, the man that's going to come. The quicker, again, you take this posture, the God actually can bring you the man. So I want to remind you that he can take the lead once you leave the space open for him. God didn't design you to be the pilot. He designed you to be the princess. He designed you to live in a state of receptivity. He doesn't need you to figure it all out. He needs you to hand over the to-do list and start being surprised by your relationship, by God. You get to learn what it means to be safe in the being, because you were built to be spoiled, but your capacity to receive the goodness that you want is the problem here. Your capacity to hold pleasure without pushing it away or without questioning it is the problem here, without waiting for the other shoe to drop. I deeply desire, and this is what I help a lot of women with, is to rest like a wife, not a burnt out girlfriend. You get to be in the posture of peace. And when you do this, you are going to be blessed. You're going to receive miracles like it is your job to be blessed every day. Your relationship is going to drastically shift. You are going to be the passenger princess now. Your stress levels are going to decrease significantly. You're not going to have to worry about so much. You get to just enjoy your life. So if you've prayed, you've journaled, you've surrendered, I'm putting air quotes here for those who aren't watching, yet your nervous system is still stuck in the role of the leader, of the I need to take charge, otherwise everything's going to fall apart. Forever Chosen is where this loop ends, where you don't have to explain the kind of love you want. He just gives it. He knows how to spoil you better than you could ever dream of, where love gets to meet you, not manage you. I have helped hundreds of women create the love life that they were designed for, the love life that they've always dreamed of and knew was possible, but it just wasn't in the reality and they couldn't figure out why. If you're ready for that to be history and now your love life to be a reality, where you get to be the spoiled wife, where you get to be the relaxed, resourced woman, apply for Forever Chosen below. It's in the show notes, or send me a message on Instagram at Alive to Enjoy, and I would absolutely love to support you in this. And for now, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know any questions you have, and we hope to see you next week. So stick around if you're the kind of woman who doesn't just want love, but you want devotion. You want to be worshipped. You want to create a love that your great grandkids will brag about. Follow this podcast and Alive to Enjoy if this is the kind of love you're here for. Thank you. You made it to the end of the episode, so now it's time for our snuggly heart breath of the day. Place a hand or both hands, if it's safe to do so, over your heart and take a big breath into your heart center. Open your mouth and let it go. I'm so grateful to have shared this time with you. If you enjoyed this convo, please share with your besties and your fam. And if you're a visual person like me, fly over to YouTube and watch the video. If you want to do a random act of kindness today, please leave a 5-star review so more people in the world can get their heart snuggled. You're helping tremendously when you do this, so thank you so much. And as a gift for doing so, I'll give you my Soften Your Heart Medi that feels like an exhale and a hug from within. When you leave a review and email me the screenshot to heartsnuggles@alivetoenjoy.com, you can also find the email in the show notes and you'll get the free meditation. Sending you the warmest, comfiest hug and lots of unexpected blessings your way. Remember that every single person just wants to be loved. So how can you be loved today?